Hi there. I'd like to start this YouTube video with a reading from Revelations 9, 3, and 4. And out of the smoke, locusts came down on earth and were given power like that of scorpions. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. So I'll just leave that out there with regards to this virus which is going around the entire planet. I have heard the smoke being compared to, the unleashing of usury on the earth in the Napoleonic times, in the book of Revelations, the thick black smoke that comes out of the abyss. I guess it's a visionary thing with regards to the industrial age, or it could be something like this. It's always speculative because every time I go down the road in this book of Revelations, I've come across a few things which couldn't possibly be right. But looking at this, it's feasible. This thing is, the use of locusts would have been also visionary because it's a plague. And what is locust? A locust is a plague. So is the Black Plague. Was the Black Plague locusts? No. So somewhere there could have been a translationary comparative wording with these locusts actually being this virus as such. But just focus on the last bit. That it does not harm people with God's seal on their foreheads. And then think, how come the Pope, who's basically the usury tribe stooge of the highest order, why did he come out with a statement saying it's because we are being judged because we use fossil fuels? Of all the things that in the last 20, 30 years that have been obnoxious to God, fossil fuels, he could have nailed humankind long ago for, when they were killing whales for oil by the hundreds of thousands. Environmental type of catastrophes that mankind have caused. But what are the other things that could be offensive to God, which the Pope has now diverted? And why did he say that? Obviously, they like to control the narrative at all times, even if this was the end of the world, literally. These people still would like to, I guarantee you, even if it literally was the last couple of moves in Revelation coming true, they would like to control the entire narrative. And they will do it through the media with breathtaking lies. They will never, ever, ever admit that they're wrong. That's just how I see it. It'd be literally lying on the floor dying, and it's quite clear. And the Christians will be like, well, nothing wrong with me. What's going on? And they'll try and invert the whole thing. And that's possibly why they're also trying with this 5G thing, because it is harmful, I believe. It is going to cause damage. It's very feasible. I don't see why people just dismiss it out of hand. In terms of the science behind it. A microwave oven works. Why not this? It's just on a massive scale. These things are massively powerful transmitters. So we're looking at this thing, and sometimes I feel like we're actually in a bit of dialogue. There's been this anti-usury tribe that's come out in massive numbers, and they've realized that they can't keep a lid on it anymore. The controllers of everything, the Bolshevik billionaires and trillionaires that have caused major bloodshed for the Western world for the last 100 years or more. And now this is, desperation stakes. They can see the mood has changed. And there's a couple of things which we, were extremely revealing. For example, obviously the Epstein case and Ghislaine Maxwell, and then realizing that actually that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's bigger players involved in that. It's basically the entirety of probably, Hollywood could be involved. Steven Spielberg's, the whole lot. Just even non-Hollywood people, just the billionaires of New York and across the world, the oligarchs in Russia for who escaped Russia. But we see a common thread. And then the Mossad connection, of course, with Ghislaine Maxwell, which is actually so blatant. It's, I think people think that a Mossad agent must look like, James Bond or something and have gadgets. And Mossad doesn't operate like that. They will use guys who look like hipsters and guys who look like nice, cool dudes, man, and girls too, just look like the girl next door. And that's how they will operate. So I see that basically playing out. But then also you have to look at what's not being discussed in the media. One of them is how Boris Johnson was treated. Because they probably didn't use some expensive Bill Gates vaccine. They probably just used hydrochloroquine, or apparently I also heard that there was a blood transfusion involved, which lends credibility to Tim Noakes, a top sports scientist who made some comments about that this thing affects your oxygen carrying capacity, which is also something that this 5G can affect in your bloodstream. But these, you see, they're all the stories that the media just don't want to tell. And you have to really realize that this is the biggest brainwashing operation in history ever. They are all speaking with one voice. And it's quite clear what the goal that they're getting towards with this crummy looking nerd / rat looking Bill Gates with his vaccine telling us that we will not be relieved from lockdown until we take this magic muti that he's going to give us, which will be a slow punch. It's a guarantee, essentially less health for everybody. Plus the implications of the mark of the beast and not being able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast, which is another issue. Of course, again, we're getting into this whole revelation thing, and I'm certainly not an expert. And it's a bit frustrating that I found that Christendom has just pretty much gone dead quiet on this whole thing, which is astonishing. To me, there's so many things going on that just are not acceptable at all. And, there should be a lot more actual action taking place in organizing, stepping outside, for example, peacefully, of course. But, making a stand and saying, well, we're not going to stay in our houses because you tell us to, especially from the Christians, because they now know categorically who's ruling them. So these are the issues that are coming out. So also the stories that have just been ignored by the press are colossal, that are detrimental to us as a society. But you can't help, because you actually need to now listen to the press to see what our next orders are from the commissars, essentially. Basically to see whether we will be allowed out in the middle of this next month or never, or in 18 months' time. One lady mentioned he was a minister of health for Britain. It could be 18 months, or at least until we find the vaccine. See, again, this vaccine, and then the next thing you'll see Bill Gates being interviewed on. So they're leading everybody into this. They're leading the sheep the sheeple. And unfortunately, there's no real, everybody is basically a sheep. And then they're talking about real riots will break out. We'll see. I don't think so. And even if they do, it's a riot never works, because they always end up just being kind of leaderless monstrosities that just go around destroying everything and nothing gets achieved. So I'd like to just get some people thinking about these things. And why does the Pope come out with that? Oh, we're using too much fossil fuels. This is an absolute joke. I mean, of all the things that people were doing wrong, is that really what the issue is? It wouldn't be anything to do with LGBT punishment, now would it? But he mentioned it in line with punishments, right? So maybe there is something to this, that certain people are just not being affected by this thing, or the Lord will keep them alive no matter what, whether they hit you with 5G or locusts or whatever is coming at you. But, obviously these people just don't want to give up. They have a hell of a lot more relentless energy than what we give them credit for. Anyway, so I'll leave you with that. And it's sort of an update from this side of the world. And I'll catch you all later.